All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Peak. On today's episode, we are happy to have one of our previous guests back, Loic Gray, who is a mentalist, a magician, and has a very unique and distinct approach to uh, those kinds of performances, where the idea that we talked about last time, and I'll hand over the mic very soon so that you fill us all in on the details. What we your style tends to be one of situating magic and these kinds of performances and narratives and stories to engage people on a deeper sort of level than just at the level of you know showing these discrete magic tricks or numbers or whatever. So it's meant to evoke a specific kind of transformative experience. Um, so without further ado, let me just hand over the mic to you and just say a few words about yourself to our audience who hasn't seen the other your previous performance yet, and then maybe catch us up on what we talked about last time and what we want to do today.
Mhm. Thank you. Well, thanks again for having me. So yes, I perform as a mind reader and as a mentalist. Having been performing for most of my life. Actually, it's been like 25 years since I started, I would say. And yeah, I have been through different areas and considerations. I started as a magician, as a playing cards magician. I performed only card tricks. I could last hours with a deck of cards to be. It was really my main thing. And then I started to be really interested in mentalism and mind reading. I don't know why, to be honest. I was always a bit curious about. I have seen a few performers, never actually live. Most of the time on the television or on the internet. But I felt that something was more possible with mentalism than with just magic in general. And it took me many years to pinpoint this possibleness, let's say, this potential to bring something more. And that was to actually push my audience to do something more and to think about maybe not not a big breakthrough, but hopefully, um, at least in the beginning, to just give you a few hints, a few ideas that you can implement in your daily life. And that was the starting point of my thinking, um, which is absolutely new. I mean, many performers have been saying that for forever, but that was a very personal realization for me that if people think that what you are doing is real, then maybe it can challenge what they think are their limits. We spoke about the limits that are self-imposed and how the very idea that you might be able to break them is sometimes enough to just break them. Or the idea that maybe there is a deeper, more subtle way to connect with someone through this just those ideas, this creativity. And that's when I started to think about how I wanted to introduce myself. And that brought me in the area of character development, character writing. How does a character evolve in a fiction? How can we make him more relatable to the people who are watching? And how to fuse that together to bring the most entertaining experience and yet put in it something that's a bit more than just entertainment, and then you just go back to your place and say, well, that was a very nice nice show, a very nice gig, and well, just resume the rest of your life. And so that's where I'm at right now, and that's where I have been trying to perform, but due to the unforeseen circumstances, I have yet to be able to implement that for real. But I'm really looking forward.
That's great. And yeah, I am reminded of what we talked about last time. And there was a sort of cool, maybe provocative way of talking about it where, the way we experience reality, and this is something that the psychologists and philosophers have taken good note of for that the world that we're interacting with isn't just a collection of physical objects in space. What we're actually engaged with is meaning, right? Um, in other words, what we're interacting with when we walk into a room, for example, is things that are droppable, things that are pick upable, things that are openable, right? Doors, places where you can sit or put, right? It's a way of interacting with the world as a meaningful place that's relevant to you and to your goals as the person that you are in that particular moment. Or one could even considered from larger time scales. So where am I going with this? So the way in which the world shows up to us tends to be very habitual. There's regularities and there's like certain expectations that keep getting met through our experience. Like if I pick up this object, right, my glass case, and I drop it, no matter how many times I do this thing, right, this action, the result is going to be the same. So if I drop it, none of us is surprised. None of us feels like our expectations have been broken or violated in any way. But if I let go of it, and if I mean, I wish I was a magician and I could pull this off right now and make everyone go ooh, right? But if I let go of this and it got suspended in midair, that would catch us all by surprise. Unless we knew what the trick was behind it, but the experience, the perception of something that is happening that shouldn't be happening, that's the moment of surprise that breaks your sense of what's real and what's not.
Mhm.
And it seems like in a lot of ways, the kind of work that you're up to is meant to create opportunities for those kinds of surprise to happen. And for these sorts of moments where a person's sense of reality gets like ruptured and their attention gets right grasped and they're there maybe in experiencing like a combination of awe and wonder and maybe even terror and horror because of the shock. I'm sure
Mhm.
that it's you. I mean, have you had any experiences where people have responded not just in amazement but also in fear?
Yes, it has happened a few times, which is always unsettling, at least for me, because I understand, and some performers do specialize in this idea of performing magic, which is uncanny and very worrying. And sometimes I do try to do that, but in general, I don't think it is as beneficial to my end goal, which is to provide meaningful changes. But yes, it has happened actually a few times, and actually, but the most annoying thing I would say is that people assume whenever they see me on stage and they meet me afterwards, or even some friends, some people I have been friends with, but very very recently they show me on stage, and then they assume that I can just read their minds, and they cannot look at me in the eyes when they're speaking, and I've seen people like behaving very strangely, and I was wondering what's wrong with this person, because just before my show he was like perfectly normal guy, and I have the most common reaction that I have seen, the most common unsettling reaction, not fear or not terror, but although that has happened, is like their behavior changes when they are around me, and I think it's a bit sad, and I have to work a lot on that, because I have to be really empathetic with that. But yeah, that's the most common reaction for people who don't know me very very well.
That makes a lot of sense because another way of interpreting what you're up to is really by helping to facilitate a certain kind of emotional experience in people.
Mhm.
And that emotional experience, I mean, it's complicated, obviously, but like through instilling these moments of surprise and maybe even shock, there's no way of predicting A, whether somebody will respond more with amazement and awe, or more with something like fear and terror, right, at the shock that they experience. And B, there's no way to really predict what meaning you will take on for them after that experience as the facilitator of that emotion in them. And you know, it's one thing, right, pulling a rabbit out of a hat and amazing everyone in that sort of, oh, that's cool. We know what that, we've seen that happen so many times before, that it's like, it's, even though we know that it's a trick, it's still cool, right? It's one thing doing that, and it's another thing making someone experience, right, a moment where it's like my mind is being read by someone else right now, right? So something that I thought was completely personal and opaque to the external world and observers is now out there exposed, right? There's this moment of nakedness that might actually beset them through that experience, that might make them reconsider lots of like basic assumptions that they have. It's a more extreme way or a version of, you know, letting go of an object and letting it like stay suspended.
Yeah.
It hits at their own personal psychological experience and sense of self, I guess. Yeah.
Right. And as you mentioned, the magic trick, like you took the example of the rabbit pulled out of a hat. People instinctively know that there is a trick, that their rabbit doesn't just happen in a hat. I mean, just we know it's a trick. What is different with mentalism and mind reading is that this border is not yet crossed. Like, I have never ever had anyone thinking that I was a supernatural being with a card trick. Never. And I can perform, and Gil will agree, I guess, hopefully, that I can do pretty good card tricks. Like, I can do basically anything I want with a deck of cards. But never ever has someone approached me after a performance and said, well, when did you discover that you had a gift? That hasn't happened. But even after the first couple of performances that I had, people were starting to ask me the question, but were you born with that kind of ability? Is it something that you can learn? And already there is this potential that if they assume it's real, then maybe they can take something out of that and reconsider their daily interactions. Because if I could just happen that, I don't know, but like I can prove that sometimes gravity doesn't work, like you proved, and that's for real. Like I just put that and it floats, and you can take pictures, you can watch, you can move around, you can just see that there is no threat. It will obviously, if I can like 100% convince you that what I'm performing here is real, it will have an influence on the way you see gravity. And well, maybe you will think twice before boarding this plane, because I don't know what can happen. Can you reverse that? You will have implications, and that is way more difficult to achieve with the magic trick. I think, in my opinion, people may be able to do that, but I don't think so. And with mentalism and mind reading, the door is still open, and so there is more potential for other people to just see that and embrace this idea. And if the performer is talented, let's hope, maybe he can, the audience can just take something and start to just think and reflect back on the things that they supposed were agreed upon and like very very common, and was forming actually reality. If I could just pull up numbers, your pin numbers, just right now from your head, it would probably be amazing, and it will ask you a lot of questions about security and everything actually regarding your personal life and your personal informations. I'm not going to do that because we have an audience, but if you want to.
So I'm sure that all of us at this point are dying to know what kind of experience do you have in store for us today?
Yeah.
How are you going to break our sense of reality in the next
That,
however long?
well, that is a very good question because I want to show you. Um, I haven't performed gigs through Zoom or screens because I don't think that they have the potential that I try to strive for. So I am going. What my idea was to try to show you different effects. Like I have three effects in mind. One which is hopefully very entertaining and very hopefully surprising, but has not yet achieved the kind of meaning that I want to have in my show. The second performance would try to be an in between, something that is really like more, which is closer to what I strive for. And the last one, which is a try to really try to bring something meaningful and hopefully bring a change. That was the idea. So what I think I will do, and tell me if that's not convenient, I will try the first trick on Suraj, if he agrees to, obviously. And the second one, I will perform it on both of you, Gary and Suraj. Try to do something at the same time. And then the last one, I will try to do it on you, Gary. Okay, so that's fair. Hopefully
Okay.
everybody agrees. Perfect.
Sounds good. Yeah.
I'm just going to pin you, Suraj, so I can see you. Okay, perfect. So before the start of this podcast, I asked everyone to bring a deck of cards. So you have one. Okay. So this is a deck of cards. I also have a deck of cards. If your deck is new like this one, it will probably be in a regular order. So you can just shuffle your cards.
Okay.
And hopefully you will agree that I have never been around those cars before. Like that's really, really, really improbable to say the least.
There was some movement in my condo last night that I still can't explain, but
but chances
I
are,
just opened this. I just opened this before the interview, so we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see exactly. We'll see. So what I want you to do, what I would like you to do once the cards are shuffled, just take the deck, and I am going to think of a playing card in your deck. Okay, so you're just going to spread the cards so that I can see it. Gary and Gil, please do not try to think of a card because I just need to focus on a correct card. Okay, so I will think of a card in your deck. Okay.
Okay.
Do that for me. So just spread the card so I can just.
Do you want me to show the front or the back of them?
The front of the card.
Front. Okay.
So that I'm sure that I'm thinking of a card that is in your deck.
Okay.
Okay. I think I have one. Perfect. That's okay. Good. Just take your deck in like you were dealing a poker hand, and I'm just going to write. Okay. So I'm just writing on the post-it so I don't change my mind, and I am going to put the post-it here. So hopefully it sticks. And okay, so no switch possible. And you are going to do exactly the same. So I am going to show you a card, to show you like a few cards, and you are going to think of a card. Again, Gil and Gary, try not to think of a card because otherwise it's going to be a bit difficult for me. Okay, so you can, and just before I ask you, most people tend to go for like ace of spades or a queen or very like so please choose like a random number cards. Okay, can you see that? You have one in mind?
I do.
Okay, perfect. That's great. So you will agree that the decks are shuffled. You have never touched my deck. I have never touched yours. So you don't, please remember your cards. Okay, so I just want to be very clear. I am thinking, I don't want us to be thinking of the same card. So my card is red. Is your card red? No, it's not. Okay. Great. That's very convenient for me. Cool. So what I want you to do now is just, you are going to take the deck here, and you are going to put it like exactly. Just go and cut somewhere and put the top half on your table. Keep the other one like parallel to the floor. Okay. So just here, take it and put it on, well, on the desk. Okay. So keep the bottom half here. Okay. So that's perfect. I'm going to do exactly like the same, and hopefully, no. Okay, like here. So again, we have shuffled decks. I thought about the cards, which is written here, and my cards, and on, well, it's written here, but on the other side, so you can see.
Okay.
Okay. So for the first time, what card did you think of?
I thought of the Queen of Spades.
The Queen of Spades. Okay. Well, I asked you not to think of a queen, so or a queen or an obvious card. So we are going just to remove, to put that back. Okay. Let's see if you try to see. Okay. I had like another one we can try again later on. Okay. I was thinking of. Hopefully you can see the 5 of diamonds. Okay. Can you show me which card you cut to? Just remove. Split your deck. Just show it like. Okay, no, you can see like the bottom card of the deck.
Oh.
Yeah, 5 diamonds.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, perfect. We can try again because the experiment was a bit messy. Okay, so you can just bring back your deck. Okay, and please shuffle it again. Okay.
So people tend to choose like royalty, right? Is that
well, people tend to choose like the Queen of Spades is a very common one, the Queen of Hearts, or the King of Diamonds, the Ace of Spades. Like we have, obviously, we know that people tend to choose that. So I will ask you to go then, but for another. Okay. So again, you are going to please spread the deck so I can think of a card. Okay. Can you just give it a cut before? Just put back the card and give it a cut because I can see a few cards together. No, give it a cut. I can see like the 5 of diamonds is still on the bottom. So
it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I try not to think about it when I shuffle.
yeah. Okay. So let me.
All right.
Back. Okay. Yeah, a few cards. Nice cards. Okay. I've got one. You can put the deck back.
All right.
Okay. I write it again. Again, wait. So keep the deck. My post-it is a bit bigger now, so I can hopefully like look a bit more stupid. Okay, so again, we are going to. I'm going to show you a few cards. Please do not think of like the obvious cards, like just think of a number. Okay. So
all right.
You have one?
I do.
Okay, perfect. So again, we are hopefully we're not thinking. Well, that would be kind of cool. So yeah. I am thinking of a space. Are you thinking of a space?
No.
No. Okay. Well, actually, so are you thinking of a black card?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So what I want you to do is again take the deck. Okay. Just put the top somewhere on your desk, for instance. Okay, and keep like the deck in your hand. Okay, so like no one can see it. I am going to do like the same thing. I got okay, and now let's see. Which card did you think of this time?
The 8 of clubs.
The 8 of clubs. Okay. You can see that's the 8 of clubs. And my card was, again, a 5, because I think you have a thing with a 5 of spades. Which card did you get to?
So on the bottom, right?
Yeah, on the bottom. And 5 of spades. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So this is something that is that I performed a couple of times before, which is nice. I think we will all agree. This is something that is really interesting to bring a sense of togetherness, of connection with someone, because we are doing the same actions at the same time, and we are despite the odds, we are ending with the same results, which is something that is very, very nice when we want to bring a sense of connection with someone. That is something that I enjoy performing, to be honest. So yeah, what do you think of?
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you liked it. Yeah.
How did you pull it off? Oh my God! What
Can't reveal his secrets, right?
Yeah, that is a secret. Obviously, that is my secret. But yeah, you still have you think like this is an interesting reaction, because like this is a secret, and how did you do with your first reaction? So the main idea is not you were probably surprised. You probably enjoy yourself, and you are probably wondering how on earth is it possible. And as for most tricks do, you are just trying to think back of all the procedures that you took and that put you in the place that you ended up in. This is something very natural, but the idea, if everything is as it should be, in my opinion, you would not even try to think about how I did it. That's my main idea, because my main aim, I think, when I'm performing, like if you are asking yourself, how did I do that? Then it means that your sense of interrogation with the surroundings is not altered in any way, because you are still relying back on this reality to try to explain what you just happened. When I try with the idea, which is not always successful, is try to be exactly the opposite, because what I saw is real. So what can I take it and change from what I believe on a daily basis? So that's a very interesting reaction, I think.
Well, let me tell you a cute little anecdote. I'm not sure. Have you guys heard of the rubber hand experiment before?
Yeah. But
okay, so some people.
tell it back.
Sorry?
I always enjoyed
Well, so it's a scenario where you're basically trying to fool your senses in a very magical sort of way. You can think about it. It's an illusion. So the way it goes is you take like an artificial rubber hand and you place it right next to yours. All right. But then you put your actual arm out of view. So you can't actually see your actual hand, but you're seeing the rubber hand, which is from the wrist up, it's covered by a cloth. So it could technically be seen as part of your body, right? But you're not experiencing it as that yet. So what the other person does is they take, I don't know, like a pen, for example, or even with their own fingertips, and they start stroking the index finger of the rubber hand that you can see, while in parallel stroking your actual index finger that you're not seeing, that's out of sight. And if they do this long enough with not just your index finger, but your middle finger, your third finger, and then if they change up the patterns and keep it symmetrical on both sides, right? With the real hand that you can't see and the artificial one that you do see. um, you might actually begin experiencing the rubber hand as though it's your own hand, because as you're seeing somebody touch the rubber hand, you're feeling the same sensations of touch on your actual hand, and so it's an illusion that ends up taking place. And some people end up believing that that hand is almost theirs, so that when they actually buy into the illusion, what you can do is then take a hammer or a pair of scissors and like threaten to like hit the rubber hand with the hammer, or to cut one of the fingers, and they like pull their hand away because they've bought into the illusion that deeply. Um, I mean, I actually did this a couple of weeks ago with my family members, because I'm a psychologist, and that's what I do. I run my own personal studies in the basement of my family members,
Who doesn't?
and so, oh yeah, I mean, your friends and family have it worse. You're a magician. At least
Yeah, for them.
So it's funny because we did the same thing with every one of my family members, and my little brother and my dad, they were prone to it. They like bought into it very, very strongly, but neither me or my mom actually felt it. And so that brought up a similar sort of question as what you were saying was bringing up for me, which is, um, are some people just less prone to feeling that this sense of disruption of their reality that deeply than others?
Yeah.
Kind of like how some people don't buy into the rubber hand illusion as easily, and they stay almost rigidly like grounded in their regular sense of reality, and that stays their Copernican point of frame of reference in a sense. Whereas with others, it's much more easy to like suspend the basic assumptions as to what reality is or what it's made of, and then to be altered in that sort of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sonny, I do have, sorry if I'm interrupting, but I have like a very similar experiment that I perform on stage. Obviously, it's not an experiment, but it's a performance, it's art. And I think Gil saw it on my stage a couple of years ago, when I bring a couple on stage and I just make them sit quite wide apart, as much as the stage allows me to. And I just ask them to close their eyes, and I talk about their sense of connectedness, because they have been together for ages. And obviously, it's very, whenever you are thinking of someone, chances are that your partner is probably thinking of that too. And I perform like almost the same kind of experiment, where I touch the shoulder of one of the couple, while they have their eyes closed, and I asked who felt me touching them, and the other one, the one who I haven't approached, just raised his or her hand, and I said, okay, well, it works, and then I touched them on, like, I don't know, the shoulder or the knee or something, and I said, well, can you point me where you thought I touched you? And the other one, again, will indicate that it was on their knee or something else. And then I touched the same person again a third time. And I asked, please, with your fingers, show me how many times did I touch you? And they will raise, the other one, again, will raise like three fingers for three times. And that is something that I always enjoy performing, because it shows this kind of connectedness that we all understand in a very very common way. Actually, we know that when we hang up with someone for long enough, we start sharing ideas and behaviors and speech patterns, etc. But I try to bring that to another level, and with this kind of experiment, try to make them think about what is a relationship and what we pick from each other. And it also asks the question, do you really want to stay with someone who isn't very positive in your way? And wouldn't you want to bring some more positivity in your life? So we can expand this kind of idea with a very basic premise and a bit of magic, if I can say.
Very interesting. So in the example you were just laying out, you touch one person, but the other one is the one who says where that person was touched.
Oh, well, actually, the person I didn't touch felt like I had touched her. This person will swear in the end of the experiment, like, no, I had my eyes closed, but this guy touched me. And people, sometimes you won't even believe that I haven't touched him. No, I swear, I felt him touching me. And I never was actually even near them. So that's a very interesting experiment to run.
If you figure out how to make that happen through Zoom with me, Gil, or something, then I mean,
I am thinking, but I am probably not talented enough to pull that off. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe some kind of inspiration. And I'm sure there are many smart guys out there who are trying to perform this kind of thing. But as soon as I hear about them, I will let you know, guys.
Okay, so
I can confirm that I saw Loic performing this trick before. It's quite amazing.
I'm about to go and buy an airplane ticket and show up for 8 hours or something.
I would love to. As soon as my show is starting.
Sounds good.
First, why don't we get the other two?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to try with you, Garri, and with you, Suraj, and then I will let you alone and quiet, so I won't disturb you anymore, and I will take care of Garri. But first, I would like you to, and please do that for me. Try to really picture yourself with what I'm saying. So I would like you to picture yourself back when you were 6 or 8 years old, and you're at school right now, and you're bored because 6 to 8 year old kids get bored easily, and you are just drawing something on the side of your notepad, something very, very simple, not very too technical, something like, I don't know, a sun or a mountain or a bicycle. Even though a bicycle is already too many details, I wouldn't be able to draw one properly. Okay, so do you have one draw in head right now? Just yes or no. A very simple draw that you can. Okay, Suraj nods. Garri, you also have one. Okay, perfect. And I would like you to just write again in your imagination what this draw is. So if, like my example, you draw like a mountain, I would write mountain underneath. Okay, so you have it. Good, perfect. So now I am going to try and do my best to try to pick some information from you. Okay, so first I will start with the word. So maybe both of you are actually thinking there is an A in your word. I don't know who is thinking of an A. Is it you, Garri, or is it you, Suraj? No? None of you are thinking of the letter A. Okay. So okay. Just erase it. It happens. But okay, you don't have an S in your word, do you? Yes, you have an S. Okay. You don't, Suraj. Okay. So I'm just, Garri, we're just going to put you aside. And Suraj, I would like you to think. I'm just going to focus on you right now. Picture, please, the real object that you are thinking of, okay? And I would like you, is it something that you can hold in your hand?
No.
No, okay, so please just make it small enough so that you can just see it like in the palm of your hand, okay? And Garri, please do the same. Is it something that you can hold, that you can easily touch? No, neither. Okay.
Sorry, what do you mean by like?
Well, that you can, that you can pick up, that you can have in your hands.
No.
Again. So please make it like very, very, very small, and please try to imagine it like a miniature, whatever that is. Okay.
Can it be the same thing, but?
It might happen sometimes. Yes, we already shared something, but I don't think it is. Actually. So
I should say what I was thinking of might be a little bit obscure, but the word like within what I drew does have an A in it.
Okay, the word that you drew. Okay, go. So I'm going to try to set this through. First, with you, Gary. I'm trying to think. Okay, is it? Are you thinking, Gary, of like a house, the drawing of a house?
Yep.
Yes, you are thinking of the drawing of a house. Okay, okay. So I got it correctly. Okay. So now Suraj, which is going to be a bit more complicated, I assume. So it's not really relevant, but you said it was something obscure. Is it something that a 8-year-old kid would draw?
Yes, it's it's not like an object necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
It works as well.
Should I stick with that still, or should I go with what I can actually like fit into the palm of my hand?
No, it's nice. It's nice. You know, Gary thought of a house, which is not something that you can picture, and still it makes sense.
Okay.
Maybe it's not going to work. Actually, it might not. I'm just going to take a risk here, and okay. I don't know if that's going to work, but we shall give it a try. What did you think of the name?
I thought of a comic. I drew a comic.
Of a comic, like a comic book.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, I thought. Sorry, my pen is a bit dried out, but I wrote. I don't know if you guys can see that. Like. Yeah, can you read it?
Wait,
Okay.
so did you guess that before?
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, yeah. I don't know how how it went through, but apparently it worked. Okay. So nice. It was interesting.
You could see it in my eyes.
Yeah, your left shoulder actually dropped a bit. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm definitely not even asking how the hell did you do that. I'm just like, I'm here. Just do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's a more. We are getting closer to the state of okay, now everything is possible and no one is safe. And
I'm just a comic drawing kind of guy. I don't know. It's just
yeah.
it's just it's personality. I don't know.
It is.
I'm baffled.
So cool. I'm glad that worked. I'm glad. I wasn't expecting to be that accurate, to be honest, but cool. So interesting.
Okay, I don't want to talk anymore. Just show us the next one. I want
Hey, show the next bit. Yeah. That's.
I'm kidding. You can, if you were about to say something, then please.
No. Well, this is an idea of a bit. This is getting closer because we don't use actually material. Actually, I have like a busted block. Sometimes I just use like white playing cards to write something up. And I am a very minimalistic mind reader. And when I perform, I do think that it cries, it screams magic tricks whenever you bring a deck of cards, even though what I'm using obviously doesn't rely on skills or on manipulations. But I don't like performing. Well, I just performed. Actually, this is a bad example. But I am more oriented with something that is a bit more closer. And you are thinking of something, and I'm trying to guess that. And even though it doesn't work, sometimes we can just do something. But then this is very factual. So we say you are thinking of something, and I guess it. This is like very a very straightforward way to show skills, and it puts the focus on me, which is not something that I enjoy, obviously, but this is not an end goal by itself. And okay, I would like to try something on you, Gary. And again, it might not work or might not work as perfectly. This is a bit different, and what I've just performed might put you in a situation where there is a bit of confrontation between you and me, like, you know, because I performed the trick and you want to understand how, and some people like take it. I'm sure it's not your case, but for many people they react badly to this kind of tricks. Like, he is trying to outsmart me, which I'm not. I'm really not. I'm just.
I don't think don't worry. I don't think it's possible to outsmart me. So
yeah, exactly. That's the idea. Exactly. Yeah, no one's trying to do that, and I don't think it's possible, to be honest. I don't care. And there's this. There is not this relationship, and that's that's the reason why we spoke about the importance of creating a character that will move the audience with him on his personal journey. Because then, if there is a trick like, I am smarter than you and you can catch me because I am way faster than you and way smarter than you are, well, there is the door is closed and there is no chance for bringing changes. And so that was a bad example of me trying to just catch you, for the lack of a better word. And I would like you, for the last experiment, I would like you to please think of someone that is close to you and that I don't know. Okay, so we spoke last time about your little brother, and so please don't think about him because I have heard about him. And please choose someone whose name is quite simple that I might have heard. Okay, so
that you might have heard. So
like the name, like a common word, like not something that I would not be able to spell properly or to understand properly.
Okay, I've got someone in mind.
You have someone in mind? Okay, perfect. So before we begin, can we? Okay, can you tell me about roughly his or her age, like same age as you, or younger, or way older?
Same age as me.
Same age as you. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I thought I asked you to think of someone who was close to you, and okay, so I would like you to picture this person, and okay. Wait a minute. When was the last time that you saw this person? Yeah, exactly. Because most people, it was a while. It was at least a couple of weeks, at least, at the very least. Longer?
No. My memory, I told you before we started recording, my memory is like out the window at this point. It's been a few days.
Yeah, a few days.
Maybe less than a week.
Less than the week, okay. Because when I think, when I ask people to think of someone close, they tend to go for someone that they meet like almost every day, like a partner or a family member or something like that. And yeah,
the problem with my family members is oh wait, I was like, oh, I shouldn't think of family because they all have like names that you probably haven't heard of. But okay, I have. Okay.
You have someone? Have you switched your mind with someone else?
I can keep it or switch it.
Okay, well, stay focused on that person, so I don't get too confused.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. That person that you haven't thought, that you haven't met like in a few days at least. So that's always something interesting. Okay, try to again to focus on his or her face. Okay, that is interesting. That is interesting. I can picture in his or her life a change in the environment, like a very important change in the environment. It might be geographic, or it might be more evasive way of thinking. Like, does it make sense? Do you know what I'm talking about?
The geographic sense, and then what's the other sense?
Well, the idea would be, you could be professional if they're getting promoted or moving to another district, something like that.
There has been a change recently.
There has been a change. Okay, that is interesting. That's something.
Different changes, actually.
Okay, 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 okay. That is interesting. That is interesting. Mm, I I don't know if you know this person closely enough to do that, but even though they might appear very confident on the outside, they are the kind of people who just wander at the edge of the bed and really thinking and processing a lot about their days and how they handled specific situations. And yeah, that is a very interesting person that's
I
you're
think
thinking.
there's something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I oh, just for, I'm going to make a commitment again. So I don't know what that. I still have like the bad sharpie. It's not even a sharpie, but just for me to be sure. Is the person that you are thinking of male or female?
Male.
Male. Okay. Okay. And what was the name of that person?
Robert.
Robert. Like, do you name him Rob sometimes?
Yes.
Okay. That is interesting because I can.
Rob. Okay.
Rob.
Yep. That's what I
You
call
got
him.
robbed. You got
That's
robbed,
exactly,
Gary.
That's a
that's,
colleague, right?
that's exactly what I call him. Rob. Hey, Rob. How you doing, Rob?
Hey Rob. Hey
What's up,
Rob.
Rob?
Yeah.
Any
Okay.
news, Rob?
He is Rob. Okay, that's interesting. Cool. So say hi to Rob for.
I'm going to show this to Rob, and then we'll see how he responds.
Cool, cool. So that's something that I hope is a bit more personal and a bit more. It brings a bit more meaning and it exemplifies a bit more what I am trying to do, which is not something that is. I should stress that this is not the kind of performance that I do most of the times. This is obviously a bit weaker, hopefully, and that I try to bring a bit more signification in my performance. And there is all this narration that is lost here because we don't have like 2 hours and a half. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it and that it gives you a bit more of thought about how I envision this kind of performances.
This was, I mean, I'd love to hear from Suraj, and Gil knows you well, so he's. Please speak as well if you'd like to say anything. But this was incredibly fun for me.
Yeah.
Very interesting and fun, enjoyable.
Definitely.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Cool. So hopefully next time we'll be live.
I think we would all very much love that. Well, me and Suraj, because Gil's already where you are, so
You're welcome to Switzerland.
Anytime.
So let me actually just pose the question back to you. What was it like for you doing a set of performances like this over Zoom with us?
Well,
Your side.
it was a bit when I thought about this this possibility of performing through Zoom. I first was actually going to say no, because I spent like an hour and a half speaking about my vision of something which I would not be able to show. And that's a bit like any kind of artist claiming that he is able to do something amazing, and that when he is confronted to something, well, he doesn't live up to the expectation. And that was really my first idea, that the show I have written is not something that I could perform through a virtual platform. That's not something that can be done, I think, for my show. So first I thought about saying no, and then I tried to raise up to the challenge, and okay, what is the gift that I'm trying to get from this situation? And I accepted. I actually said yes before knowing what I could perform. because I like to challenge me in unexpected and very stupid ways. And so I sat down and I tried to think of something that would be able to be enjoyable for all of us, and then to illustrate, to exemplify what I was trying to say. And I thought that it would be more useful for you to see the evolution from what could be interpreted as a card trick, which is yet enjoyable and very fun and entertaining actually, from something that's a bit more like strange and a bit more closer. It hits closer to home, I can say, and then end up with something which is really personal because it involves someone who is not here with us, and something that in a very, very small way, you are going at least to talk about that to this Rob, I think, because it was something. And so again, you take something out of the show and you might bring it back to your daily life, not in a very groundbreaking ways. You are not asking questions about the nature of the reality, but still you have this nagging thought of something happens and I have no idea what happens. And this is something that I enjoy, and that's something that I enjoy, knowing that I put some in some people's minds.
I can tell you from my end of it at least that you've succeeded at doing that today with us. And if you were hesitant before about doing performances online via Zoom or behind a screen or whatnot, I hope this acts like a sort of reinforcer for you that there seems to be something to it, and you're more than capable of doing it. And at any point, if you actually develop new ideas or new performances or anything like that, just reach out to us. You're more than welcome to come back and show us what you've got. Especially, but not only if it's enjoyable like this, even if it gets a little spooky or uncanny. Like, I think we're kind of open to that and curious.
Mm-hmm.
The weirder the better, I say.
The weirder the better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe that's the next challenge that we're laying out to you, Loic. Next time, make us feel very, very spooked out and weird. So if you can.
I will think about that. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Food for thought. Perfect. But thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and that I succeeded in at least having you spend a good time.
Thanks, Loic.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, and thanks everyone for watching. And stay tuned for the next episode and for any news on Loic's work. So that'll be up. Right.